Welcome back, listeners. We're
Oh
back.
my gosh, we're going. Let me turn my
Alex
light on.
was so not ready for that. Oh, that's
Man,
incredible. That's
got me on my toes.
The authenticity we're looking for here at Holo Health. Alex,
Hey guys.
we got to kick off today's episode. I need the listeners to experience you reviewing your Spotify Wrapped playlist.
No one
Listeners,
cares about my Spotify
Dude,
Wrapped playlist.
Everybody always cares about Spotify Wrapped playlist. That's why people post it on their stories. You know, I'm being dramatic, but it's a fun thing, man. Let's go through yours. I'll share mine after you go through yours.
What do you want to know?
We're not going to go through this too much. Hey, just give me your top 5 artists and your number 1 song.
Okay, ready, Wrapped. You're Wrapped. Here we go. I'm going to do it like this if you're watching video. I have not
Nobody
seen this
can
yet.
see that, bro.
Hello, Alex Cunningham. All right, turn this down. Was your feast of your years? Let's see. This year your listening took place. Okay, just tell me the things. I played 1,003.
Hey, just for the sake of time, keep tapping
Frozen
until it says top artists.
Okay, your top songs. I listened to 626 artists.
Wow.
You couldn't get enough of "Worthy of Your Song" by Phil Wickham.
Come on, baby. You love you, Phil.
Number 1, Phil Wickham. Peak listening month was May. Phil Wickham is a worship artist, just in case you're wondering. Number 2 is Idina Menzel from Frozen. Peak listening month was January. Baby. No, it's from me. I listen to Frozen a lot. Oh, then Kristen Bell, also a kid's song. Brian and Katie Torwalt, Worship. Number 5, Ben Rector. Your top artist: Phil Wickham, Idina Menzel, Kristen Bell, Brian and Katie Torwalt, and Ben Rector.
That's exactly what you just said. So good you said it twice.
The top podcast is none of the two that I do, the Coming Strength and Fitness or the Whole Health podcast. It's the Practicing the Way podcast, the Rule of Life podcast.
Dude, I'm actually kind of upset that we didn't make your top podcast.
All right, here's confession, because there's got to be a confession. All right, I'm done with that. We have to have a confession every single episode, Trevor. When we record podcasts, I rarely listen to them back. Where a lot of times people are like, oh, I listened to it like once or twice to kind of see where I will listen to them, but I don't consistently listen to any podcast. And I've, at this point, been on hundreds of podcast episodes. I rarely listen to them again after they're done being recorded.
That's a casual flex. 2, I think you should go back and listen to them, because I think that we say
you're
things
terrible
that
and you need to take
we
notes
need to remind
better.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I think more so that that's a great perspective too. It's like, hey, I wish I didn't do that, or I did do
Context,
this.
That's the only reason why I listen to it, is for feedback and way to get better. I don't listen to it just to listen to my own podcast.
I listen to it because I know there's going to be something in there that I need to remind myself of.
Okay, preach to me, boy.
It's just like you write to 3 and 30,
no, you're right.
And you're reminding yourself.
You need to be reminded.
It's the same thing on the podcast.
Yeah.
For example, Erin was talking about how good episode 45 was. She's listening to 46, probably like on the way to work right now. If that gives you any context on when we're recording this podcast. Anyways, but she was like, it was so good. And then she was talking about the section where we were just honestly digging into purpose. We were unpacking the non-cultures version and then digging into purpose and like be yourself, be your own, follow your truth. And she's like, you were kind of spitting. And I was like, I don't even like really remember what I was saying.
Hey, that's what young kids say. What for us old people, what does spitting mean?
It means you're just like dropping bars. I mean, if you're listening to a song and you're like, bars? Yeah, so imagine you're in the car, listeners, you're in the car and you're just kind of if you're watching a video, I'm like bobbing a little bit. I'm kind of like, yeah, you're just heads bobbing a little bit, and you're like, this song hits. That's spitting. Because if you like the words, that means that artist is dropping bars. If it's got a good beat, then it slaps. That's the difference. Dropping bars is good lyrics. Beats, it slaps is good beats.
Holo Health listeners, I'm so glad you're here. I'll welcome you today.
Hey, there's 2 minutes earlier than last episode.
That's right. There's some commonalities in our podcast. Yes, we go about true health and topics in 3 and 30, but we do confession on this podcast, and we also let Trevor give us cultural context on slinging the tin and spitting and dropping bars, where us old people like me only know what dabbing is and
Hey, I'm
swag
so glad you know
and
what dabbing is. My
the
man Cam
old
Newton made it.
people lingo. I'm like, hey, I saw on Facebook. You're like, we don't do Facebook. Anyways, Trevor, what we got today?
We got some good stuff.
All right.
We had a couple. We actually had a few. What do you think about submissions? But I really just want to hone in on two. They're related, and it was a piggyback off of the question by the same individual. But I want to spend time there, and then we're going to break down the 3 and 30 that Alex wrote last week. This is the 3 and 30 edition from November 30th that he released. So we're going to dive into this one. This is awesome. I love this question, Alex, and I'll let you kick it off and break things down. Why, in our 7 habits of health, is sleep the first habit?
Oh, come on, baby. You're giving me a softball.
I am giving you a softball. Hit it up.
So what do you think about sleep being the first habit? Oh, man. How much time we got? I'm trying to put this succinctly. I'll start off by saying sleep is number one because it impacts everything. You cannot outperform sleep. Yes, all the habits are integrated. We believe health is holistic, but habits 2 through 7 and every other health endeavor will be either positively or negatively impacted by your sleep. And sleep has been found to be not only a habit of high performers and highly successful people, but it is in our God-given DNA, in our design on how to be fully human. Because I believe before we even eat clean or move often, we will not be metabolizing the nutrition that we eat, or we will not have the energy to move often in habits 2 and 3 if we don't have the fuel in our car or our tank is not full. And we get that by sleeping well and resting well. When you look at the 7-day creation narrative, every 7th day he rested. And every single day, there was evening and there was morning, day 1. There was evening and morning, there was day 2. From day 1, from the beginning of time, God made this natural rhythm for all of creation to follow. So I just believe that sleep has one of, not the, but one of the most disproportionately impact on any other thing. And when we look at, when I originally wrote the Holo State with the 7 habits of health, I wrote the 7 habits from simple to complex and from a prescriptive order. When someone doesn't know how to apply a truly healthy life, I'll say, hey, here's what you can do. You can sleep 7 to 9 hours every single night because you're already sleeping. Whether you're sleeping 3 hours a night or 5 hours a night, the first step you can do, which is an easy first step, is sleeping well. And then we give you a chapter on that. And then after we're consistently sleeping well and feeling better, then we can go on to the next habits, which originally they were prescriptive. So that's just me riffing for 2 minutes.
That's a great response. I have so many questions to follow up. Putting my listener lens on is what if I'm sleeping 5 to 6 hours right now, but I am seeing physical changes? Like I'm in the gym and I'm moving and I'm trying to eat as well as I can. And what's the point?
You can, but you're limiting yourself. And you're essentially, if you want to get to a 9 out of 10, you're only going to get to a 7 out of 10. You will experience, sorry, my camera's shaking a lot. You will experience positive change,
it's a spirit moving, bro.
You are unnecessarily putting a lid or a ceiling on your progress, because what's happening is your body is adapting to operating at a suboptimal place. You are performing, let's say in your workouts or your relationships, your body is used to running on 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep. It would be that much better when you are fully rested with 8 to even 9 hours of sleep. If you are running a marathon at 5 hours and the only thing you change for the next marathon is actually sleeping really, really well and making sure your recovery is there, you actually will probably improve your performance, maybe to 4.5 hours or something. So it's
what if
almost,
I don't care about my performance? Like, what if I'm just checking a box when I go to the gym?
Do you desire to be truly healthy?
I think I would want to know, what do you mean by that?
I mean, everyone wants to be healthy, but it's the fact of sleep will make or break all the other habits. It really will. think of the times when you're easily lashed out, you feel empty, you're irritable, you're tired, you just need a rest. Sure, your body may adapt, but I don't think that's living life to the full. People used to sleep 10 to 11 hours before electricity, and that was just a normal common practice. Now we are just pushing. I mean, look at this. Sleep deprivation is an epidemic. You read the results, the studies on sleep. There is not a debate in the medical community. People just think I'm going to push limits, which a lot of times have undercurrents of busyness and productivity and efficiency and go. But ask all those people as they will burn out. That is not sustainable. A more sustainable pace is sleeping well, getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep because you can sustain that pace. Where I write about in Health is Freedom, it's sleeping well and resting well. You need a sustainable pace for both your physical and your internal, your mental and emotional and spiritual, because we're not meant to go and have our mind on all the time. So there is that rhythm we need to follow.
So much to unpack there. Okay, so for the sake of time and getting to the 3 and 30, I hear you. I'm on board. Excuse me. I sleep 5 to 6 hours. I hear you about 7 to 9 hours. Give me whatever else high level thoughts and tips on. All right, I want to improve my sleep. What you got for me?
The 3 main tips I talk about are prime your environment, minimize your stimulants, and have a routine. Minimize your stimulants and have a routine. So, I'll talk about the first one, and we can unpack more later, is priming your environment, because your sleeping environment can make or break your sleep quality and quantity. So the things that we like to share are keep it cool, dark, quiet, calm, comfortable, all these things. As far as practically, your body can't actually fall asleep until your core temperature decreases about 2 to 3 degrees at night, which is why it's easier to fall asleep in a cooler environment than a warmer environment. So keeping it cool, we literally keep our thermostat at 66 degrees. Calls crazy. Also, every single bit of light is bidding for your brain's attention because it's a stimulus. So any kind of light can disrupt your sleep. So I sleep with a sleep mask every single night, and I've almost trained my brain where, like, I don't sleep as well without that sleep mask because I know it's going to be pitch black. The other thing is keeping it quiet. We sleep with a sound machine every single night because that's drowning out all the other external noise, but it's also letting your body get into deep and REM sleep better because there's just that constant white noise in the background. So it's almost like finding that state easier. So just those 3 things, and then you find a bed that's comfortable. I know it's hard to believe, but find a comfortable sleeping environment. But just, we talk about priming your environment in those ways. Maybe it's blackout curtains, maybe it's reading before bed, and maybe it's having a thin sheet rather than a thick comforter so you can keep it cool. Like there's different ways you can keep it cool, dark, and quiet. But those are just a couple quick tips.
That's great. And as we transition away from this, listeners, we could talk a lot about sleep, but I think both of us care deeply about sleep, and I'm fully on board that it's habit number 1 and that it impacts everything. When we say it impacts everything, what is commonly seen in culture in regards to sleep is, hey, if you get your sleep, you maximize your performance. And they're always talking about physical performance. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's an incomplete picture, which is the common problem we see in culture when we talk about health. They're painting an incomplete picture on what health actually is. You will actually get and see more benefit from getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep in your spiritual walk with Jesus, in your marriages, in your relationships and friendships at work or outside of work. That will be one of the biggest areas of growth that we talk about liking what you see in the mirror, love and the inner peace you feel. Love and the inner peace you feel comes from being well rested, both body and mind and soul. And so, man, we got a lot that we could unpack there, Alex, but for the sake of time, we're not going to go into it all.
Trevor, we should do this. We should unpack more, because not only do we have more tips, but also if someone's like, well, I can sleep 5 to 6 hours a night and I'm fine. Yeah, fine is great, but it's not optimal. But there's also, I can share a bunch of statistics on why it may not be best, on how it disrupts your hormones, and it actually increases likelihood of cancer and heart attacks, and it actually decodes your DNA strands for more deconstructive. And when you get 6 hours of sleep or less per night, your immunity drops by 70%. So the science is clear. It's just a matter of, do you want to see change, and do you want to be truly healthy? Then you have to sleep. It's a non-negotiable.
Oh man, we could really spend so much time on this. The last thing I'll share is, you're not going to plug your phone up and unplug it at 70%. You're going to let it charge all the way to 100%. Exactly. So why don't you let your body do the same thing?
Trevor, okay, I need to share this really quick because you just sparked this, and then we can end sleep. I feel so just passionate about
Alex
sleep.
is big sleep guy. I mean, I am too, but Alex is like the king of it.
I got so made fun of in college because I'd literally, all right, guys, it's 9:00, I'm going to bed, and I created, like, we had bunks in college. I literally put blankets, because I didn't have an IMAS back then. I put blankets around the bunk so I would have a dark sleeping environment. I'd put my AirPods in and literally be asleep by 9 or 10 o'clock. People like, all right, Alex, we'll see you tomorrow. Here is one of the paradigms I think about when it comes to whole health and sleep. I call it your true health battery. Here is how your sleep impacts your faith and your spiritual disciplines. When you sleep full, honestly, I think 8 to 9 hours, but it may be 7 for you. 7 to 9 is what science says. When you sleep a good night's rest, like you said, Trevor, you are resetting your battery back to 100%. If we are only getting 5 to 6 hours, our battery is only getting set to 60 to 70%. What I realized is that for me, and I would argue for most people, the fruits of the Spirit occur in the 80 to 90 to 100%. I can better exhibit kindness and patience and self-control when I'm fully rested because my cup is full and my battery is recharged. When I am getting exhausted throughout the day, or I'm consistently only sleeping 5 hours each night and my battery is only at like a 40, 50%, it decreases the likelihood, or I'm not setting myself up in a better opportunity to engage in the fruits of the Spirit or set my mind on the Spirit because I'm running on empty. So the fruits of the Spirit really occur in the 80, 90, 100%, and that happens through consistently sleeping well. Does that make sense?
It makes plenty of sense. I love it. I'm going to take credit for you coming to that realization, because I remember that one time that I probably got like 4.5 hours of sleep, and we talked at the gym, and we basically unpacked everything you just shared. And then all of a sudden the battery existed, and I was like, well, that's what happens. Hey guys, I'm the one dipping in and out of living a truly healthy life, and Alex is like, I'm going to learn from Trevor's mistakes. For context, health is attention to manage, which means sleep is attention to manage. We'll unpack that at another time. But
we have
so much more to talk about. We're going to dive into the 3 and 30.
Okay.
For the sake of time, we just spent about 15 minutes on sleep, 3 minutes of the start of this episode on Alex's Spotify Wrapped. If you're tuning in, or if you're still with us, love it. Stay with us. We're going through the 3 and 30. I'm going to share my screen again.
Trevor, as you're sharing your screen, what's the purpose? What's the value add of the 3 and 30? Why do we do this?
The value add of the 3 and 30 is that's a great question, a good thing to unpack. The 3 and 30 is meant to encourage people to pursue a truly healthy life. A lot of our pursuit of something that Jesus invites us into is going to be, one, aligning ourselves to the behaviors that he created, the things he designed, the ways in which he designed them. But it's also continually renewing your mind through truth. And so Alex writes the 3 and 30 to inspire, because some of this stuff's like, man, this is so inspiring. Or it's sometimes thought-provoking. It's going to make you unpack and think about your own life and apply that to your own life. And then sometimes it's just true health facts is what I would call them, right? Yeah. It's like exactly what God designed, and all of it is intended to help you clarify what it means to be truly healthy and how to pursue it. So it's both an inspiration and then an application type newsletter. And we unpack it because it's great to read it. And I mean, hey, we value your time. We want you to keep reading the 3 and 30. That's why Alex writes it, and you can read it in essentially 30 seconds or less. And you can only get so much from that. So that's why we decided to start unpacking the 3 and 30 on the podcast. And it's been a hit. A lot of people have liked it. And if you like it, tell a friend, share the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, or follow us. You know why? Because our not sponsor LaCroix will make more sales. Just kidding.
Trevor, the only thing I would add, because everything you said was gold, is we rise and fall in our definitions. And that's what we're seeking to do with Total Health, is redefine health, take it back from culture and redefine what we're calling true health. 1, 2, and 3, the 3 and 30, there's 3 points, is we want to redefine health. And these are just quick ways we can constantly, what Paul says, renew our mind with what truth or true health actually is, rather than just drifting down the cultural undertone, believing that health is what we see on social media and health is image manipulation and I need diet and keto and burpees and that's only health. Where if every single
you
week
do need burpees.
That's true. That's part, not the only, but part of the equation. But anyways, if we can get 1% better and renew our minds with a better, more accurate definition, what we call true health, every single week, that's our goal. So we're seeking to redefine health one newsletter at a time.
Dude, couldn't have said it better myself. Point number 1. Again, this 3 and 30 is from November 30th. You can find it on the website under Resources 3 and 30 newsletter. But point number 1 says, increased strength increases love. Here's how. Physically strong, I can help my wife with a house project, assist my neighbors with yard maintenance, or carry groceries for the elderly. Mentally strong, I can be fully present with others by removing mental distractions and slowing my mind. Emotionally strong, I can respond appropriately to a tough conversation by allowing my emotions to inform me but not control me. Relationally strong, I can honor my spouse when she's not around by believing the best at all times. Spiritually strong, I can give others the real, authentic version of myself by reinforcing my identity in Christ each morning. The point in the ending section here says, stronger makes everything better. The question that Alex leaves you with is, what area of health needs more strength? Alex, we'd love to just unpack this one a little bit. I have some thoughts, but I'll let you kick it out.
Yeah, I mean, pretty to the point. I'll tell you where this came from. Do you eat, I don't know how to say it, Oikos or Oikos, Greek yogurt?
Greek yogurt?
It's the Oikos.
Massive tub. It's Oikos.
Sponsor them. I want to give them a shout out because I was filling up my water jug because I have to open up our fridge, and I was filling up in our filtered water, and I just was looking at that package. On the back of it, they had a line that says, stronger makes everything better. And I was like,
come on.
I agree. Come on, yogurt. And that's all it said. It didn't have any context, or at least I didn't read anything more. It said, stronger makes everything better. So I give them a shout out for that last line. But literally from there, I was going to write the 3 and 30 from filling my water bottle up. And I was like, stronger makes everything better. So I literally just wrote that. And I was like, what does this mean? And probably 20 minutes later, I have point number 1 because I was like, they're right. And it's in every area. Because increased strength increases what we say is the true health motivation to love and serve other people. We increase levels of health so that we can now be the hands and feet of Jesus through love. Love is the only spiritual metric. We know we are progressing in our health and in our pursuit of Jesus by how we love one another. Is what Jesus talked about in John 13. So the stronger I am in every single area, because we believe that health is holistic, I can love better, which is why being stronger makes everything better. So it just was my brain unpacking this in about 20 minutes.
Dude, I'm definitely tagging Okios in a clip from this episode. That's incredible. I love their yogurt. I usually buy
I love it.
Like a large tub throughout the week, and then Erin and I get the small packets. She likes the small ones to take to work. What would you say is the biggest area that you need to increase strength?
Again, confession number 2, my weakest area of health has always been my emotional health.
Dude, that's the same. You just saw my comment on social media.
I didn't, but...
Yeah, you did. You commented back.
The natural undercurrent or the cultural undertow for men specifically is to push emotion aside, do not show it, it's weakness, and just suppress it and just be tough and keep going. That is my natural tendency, where I have had to not only focus and redefine emotional health and my emotional vocabulary by using my feelings wheel, but also shine the light of why is this emotion surfacing? Where is it coming from? How can that inform my mental health of not believing lies, but reinforcing truth through the emotion? Because emotions are good. God made us with emotions. This is what I'm learning is that emotions are portals to your soul. If we stuff and suppress them, we can't look within. We can't increase clarity. But the moment where we let emotions control us rather than inform us and we move forward in pursuit of truth and true health, that's when we struggle because now we are not in control of what's going on inside. We're just letting emotions run rampant. So that's where for me, I need to increase my emotional vocabulary and my emotional strength so that I can love others better.
It's awesome. I would say for myself, when I read this, I also for context listeners, he spent 20 minutes writing this point for you to read it in like 10 seconds. That man's working. But besides that is I read this and I thought about my pursuit of health started by my desire to be physically strong, which is okay, which is awesome because it got me in the door. And this is what I think is, just look at the Lord and the way he draws people in is not everyone starts their pursuit of a truly healthy life. Again, whether they realize that's what they want or not, but not everyone starts that through the pursuit of physical strength. Yeah. Most probably do, but some people probably pursue it through spiritual strength, right? Or relational strength. But he's inviting us into more, right? It's just like becoming more like Jesus. It isn't just I have to be as physically strong as possible. There's probably actually too strong, in one area. You don't want to be overly strong in one area at the sake of the others. Just like I don't want to be, able to squat 500 pounds, but my marriage sucks, right? Then my relational health is not where it needs to be. So I think this is an awesome point. Listeners, the question for you to unpack is what area of health needs more strength for you? Sit down, think about it, write about it. Rate yourself 1 out of 10. Use something to call yourself to higher, to run the race, to strive more towards the truly healthy life and the increased strength that Jesus invites you to because it increases love. And love is above all other things, as we see in Scripture talked about. So that's an awesome point, Alex. Also, listeners, if you want to know, I just mentioned, like what area of health I feel like I could be struggling with, etc. If you want an assessment to figure that out for yourself, if you go to our website, immediately when you go to our website, there's an email prompt to sign up for the emails. And if you sign up for that, it will send you 2 free resources and the True Health Assessment, which will give you an assessment of where you are, a True Health score with regards to the areas of true health, all aspects of it. So go check that out. If you're already subscribed to our email and you want that, just shoot me an email, trevor@holohealth.com, and I'll get it over to you.
Well, Trevor, it doesn't just give you your true health score because at the bottom it's like, hey, out of 700, your true health score is a 555 out of 700. But it also gives you a breakdown of each habit. So, for example, you have a sleeping score, nutrition score, movement score, an increased clarity score. So you can see practically, oh, wow, like this is really far down. I now need to focus on my relational health. Anyways.
No, that's good. Good leave there. I'm going to read the second one and then I'm going to talk about it.
Please.
Because I want to talk about it.
Please.
Second point from the 3 and 30 listeners said, studies show that artificial sweeteners, we're talking about Splenda, Sweet and Low, Equal, NutraSweet, they contain aspartame, which the WHO, which is the World Health Organization.
Did you just say WHO?
Yeah.
I love that. The World Health Organization.
The WHO. Yeah. I mean, no, come on.
I've never heard someone say that like that, but I love it.
The WHO.
I literally thought of the Grinch when you said that.
It is Christmas time. The WHO, the World Health Organization claimed as probably carcinogenic, which means a cancer-causing agent. The second bullet, it says they're addictive. They are endocrine disruptors, meaning they negatively disrupt your hormones. They lower testosterone levels when consistently consumed and are 10 times sweeter than natural sugar, causing the palate to change. What's the bottom line? Some is fine, but draw the line. Remember, habit number 2 is attention to manage. Eat clean, but not extreme. I'm big nutrition guy over here. I'm going to say that's my superpower, where Alex's superpower is sleep, which is why we hang out.
I concur.
Thank you. When it comes to artificial sweeteners, there's nothing wrong with wanting something to taste a little bit better. But again, that point at the bottom is some is fine, but draw the line. Yeah, Alex made it like clever and it rhymed, which is fun. But you have to define what that looks like for you. If you are desiring everything that you drink, or this is mostly around like kind of beverages, to be added to add sugar into them, artificial sweeteners. You can add it into some foods and stuff too, but I feel like, I read this list and most of these things come from beverages or liquids that people would drink. So you have to determine what that looks like for you. Here's the point, is that the biggest takeaway that you can take from this is that whole, clean, real foods were designed and given to us by the Lord to nourish our bodies and to operate as they were designed to function properly. When we add things that are created and crafted by man, what can happen is negative fruit of our body. Funny enough, fruit, sugar, is negative things can happen, which are potential for cancer down the road, or other metabolic diseases, or high blood pressure, cholesterol, all these different things. This information is extremely well known, right? Like we're not groundbreaking. We're not sharing groundbreaking information right here. The point is that you have to understand nourishing your body is stewarding your body well. The body is not meant to be deprived. It is meant to be nourished. If you only focus on, and you may not even realize you're depriving the body, but if you're not giving your body whole, clean, real foods in some facet of the day, you're depriving your body. If you feel tired all the time, if you have a constant headache, in and out of those brain fog moments, if you don't feel like you have any energy, yes, you should look at your sleep. But then habit number 2, you should look at your nutrition, because that's definitely playing a factor in the way that you feel and the way that your body is outputting energy throughout the day. So when it comes to artificial sweeteners, just set a limit. Look and be aware of where you're using these. If you are using these, whether it's through carbonated beverages, adding something to your coffee, adding something to another beverage, just take a look under the hood at what's going on. It's the same as if I was going to eat out, right? I want to understand, how many times am I eating out? And is that something that is stewarding my body well by nourishing my body? Or am I kind of just going for the pleasure side of things too much? Again, on several episodes ago, we talked about the 80-20 principle. If you're not familiar with that or want to revisit that conversation, it's on our YouTube page. You can see one of the videos there on what that means and how to apply it. But you are designed by God to nourish your body through whole, clean, real foods, not deprive your body of what it needs. To add on to that, and then, Alex, you can punch in here. The reality is that the more ultra processed foods that we do consume does affect our long-term health, holistically, long-term health, which impacts the way that we get to love other people better and the future impacts of our close circle and family and friends. They are impacted by those decisions. That's not to put pressure or added weight on you. That's a reality. That's just a truth. I'm just stating a fact. If I'm not nourishing my body or not even caring about that, in 40 years, my body will pay for it. And because I'm paying for it, someone else will pay for it. We talk about it all the time. Other people's levels of unhealth are projected onto those people in their close circle. So the reality is, we cannot decide for you to make a change. You can only come to the realization that I don't want to be limited unnecessarily by my health now or later. And so if you start now, just like investing, you reap benefits both now and later. Whereas financially, you're more than likely not reaping it now, you're reaping it later. With health, you reap it immediately for a lot of things, not all things, but immediately, and then 1000% later. That's where I'll end that point.
I have nothing to add.
Boom.
Some is fine, but draw the line.
Point number 3, the more we hide, the less we heal. Did you get this from the Okios yogurt too on the other side?
No, this was from my Green Goodness green juice on the other side of the fridge. It just wasn't. No,
Don't do this.
I just made that up.
Alex Trevor, doesn't take green juices because we get whole, clean, real foods. The greens powder is not a necessary add to your day. Please eat vegetables. We can talk about that. If you have a question, drop it. Send us on Instagram. We can unpack that. But he doesn't do that.
Trevor, before I unpack number 3, what was your primary reaction to reading this?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Where did your mind go?
It went spiritually. If I want to be able to heal and see victory over some struggle, that whether it's a sin struggle that I have, or it's a relational struggle that I'm experiencing, or if it's a work struggle, insert some sort of struggle, right? Could be physically, mentally, spiritually, relationally, emotionally, whatever it is. If I'm suppressing that down, and I think I just immediately went to the Lord, if I'm not at the cross or in the silent moments of the morning, giving that or handing that over to God, and I'm hiding it, he'll never allow me. Well, maybe he will allow me to experience healing because he's all powerful and he loves me. But he also is inviting me to lay that before him. And as humans that exhibit free will by creation, God created us to operate with free will. We're not robots. Yes, he knows what we're hiding, just like he knew Adam and Eve were hiding in the garden. But he wanted them to be honest about where their heart was, the things that they're hiding, the things that they're struggling and wrestling with, the fears, the doubts, the emotions that they're experiencing, so he could begin the healing process. It's the same for us. So that was my thoughts. I had several more. I thought about marriage too, and the ways that I have passed her, and that impacts our marriage, and then vice versa with Aaron. And the more we suppress that rather than communicate and sit down and talk about it, the less we're going to be able to heal and then strengthen our marriage. We talked about increased strength earlier. Those are some of the things I thought about.
You're spot on. I mean, this applies to every area. Where my mind went with this was the verse. It actually isn't a verse, but it's a concept. It's a belief in Scripture that sin grows in the dark. Yeah. And I'll read Luke 8:17. It says, "For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to the light. For light is a good exposure, or it brings exposure into what we're hiding. That sin grows in the dark, but when we bring it out into the light, that is step number 1. It's kind of like alcohol AA, of like you come be like, hey, my name is Alex. I just got drunk last night and I need help. Like that is not hiding. That is revealing. That is exposing it to the light, and that is step number 1. Where here's what's really cool, and I want to read. I believe it's James 5. I pulled it up here. James 5:16. Says, confess, there's our word, confess your sins to one another. It doesn't say to God. It says, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. And I find that so enlightening because the Western Church has lost the sacrament of confession. The Catholic Church still does it. It is a very good, truly healthy behavior because essentially confession is, hey, here's the sin that's growing in the dark, and with safe community, I need to be able to share that. Now, we need to use wisdom and discernment on the appropriate times when to share that, but we need to share that. We need to let that out, which is why doing life, hashtag habit number 6, cultivate community, is so important, because we need that outlet. Where the Catholic Church, confession, it has been manipulated, it has been distorted, just like anything, but it was the act of actually telling a priest and letting it out. The Protestant version of confession is simply whenever your church takes communion, you take the little bread and you take the little wine, and right before you drink it, you say, oh God, I'm sorry, boom, done. And you only keep it within your mind, rather than actually letting it out into the open and telling another soul. So I have been, so blessed by being in close circles with my intimates. Dunbar's rule is you have 1 to 5 intimates, about 15 friends, and then 150 people you know, and then everything outside of that is a tribe. Excuse me. We're the 1 to 5 intimates, which hopefully is your spouse, but then hopefully you have 1 or 2 or 3 other close people of probably the same gender. Trevor, you're in one of these of mine, of that you can tell anything, that you can be the real you. Because here's the thing. Most of us portray 90% of the real us. But a lot of us don't share that last 5 to 10%, which is a normal human thing, and honestly, it's probably a healthy thing. But we do need the few people to give the 100% version of us, the authentic self, because sin grows in the dark. The more we hide, the less we heal. And the more we heal, the more we bring to the light. And having the community of safety and trust, but also challenge and refinement and truth and scripture and prayer, that's what Cultivate Community is all about. That's the true health definition of that. So yes, there is a spiritual and a relational component, but I have been the recipient of this for many, many years, both at my friend group at Liberty and college, and then also in my adult life now, that I have sought out what I call brothers. That Trevor, your brother, and there's other brothers that I actually shout out to my friend Luke, who's a brother of mine, that we've been literally doing either a monthly, quarterly, or weekly accountability call for probably 7 years now. And I literally just got off that call 30 minutes ago, and we were unpacking this, which is why I'm so passionate about it, because it has helped me stay in bounds. It has helped me stay within the guardrails, where you hear stories, pastors, prominent leaders, or people having a moral failure. They probably didn't have that, or they didn't have that as a habit. It maybe was just a one-off, or when things were bubbling or something happened and then they'd confess, rather than the continual rhythm of saying, hey, here's what's going on in my heart. Here's the gunk and the funk that I need you to refine me and speak truth over me, but also in a loving, graceful way. That is the church, and that is true health. That's all I'll say.
See, and I'm going to go back and listen to this, and I'm still going to get so much value from it, even the second time hearing from it. But you won't listen to it again, and that's okay. Listeners, that was just really good what Alex shared. If you tuned out at any point, rewind it 8 minutes and listen to that again. Living in authentic biblical community is God's intention for you. We pray that that's something that you get to experience. And if it's not, we encourage you to lean into that through the church, through your close 1 to 5, and really seek that. It's life-changing. I mean, it's life-changing. I think you could have all the other 6 of 7 habits of health. If you don't have community, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
Personally, I fully believe that. So listeners, every week we're trying to bring you as much value, as many resources, conversations that help you pursue the healthy and abundant life that Jesus offers.
That's
we
good.
Pull that and we read and talk about John 10:10 all the time. That's where we see that. And he is the good shepherd. He's inviting you to surrender control, to surrender your pursuit of what you want health to be, and align your behaviors to him.
Yep.
If you want to learn more about what that looks like, we would encourage you to visit our website. We're continually sharing free resources, free tools, things such as articles, podcast episodes, YouTube videos. We've got online courses on there. Alex's books that he wrote are on, links are on there as well. We are, moving and grooving. And if you're listening to this episode, we are coming to an end of 2023. Regardless of when you're listening to it, 2024 is going to be an awesome year. If you're listening to this during 2024, go check out our website again, because I bet your bottom dollar we got some more content, and you gotta be looking, because we're bringing the goods, and we want to create as much value as we can for free, because we want people to experience the true healthy life. Yes, we have some paid offerings, but we just are really passionate about this, and we want to give you guys as many tools and resources as possible. So the freemium version for a lot of stuff is online. Go check it out. If you're not already following us on social media, you can follow us at Holo Health, HOLOHLTH. Remember, no vowels in health. on Instagram, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, or give us a follow on Spotify. My last ask for you is that if you find any value in the content that we provide, invite someone else into this community. We just talked about community and the value of community. We want to create a large group of people who are pursuing God's design of health. And so if you know someone that would benefit from this, send it to them. It could be a podcast episode. It could be a social media post, YouTube video. It doesn't really matter to us. And we're not doing this just for the sake of growing because we want to be a large business. That's irrelevant to us. What matters is the amount of people that get exposed to the invitation that Jesus has.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Alex, what do we say?
You're a legend.